What happens when two seasoned business leaders get together? They talk shop, of course. Sit back and listen in as Scott DeLong and Vince Moiso share from their experience around current issues facing executives, entrepreneurs, and their leadership teams. The CEO Podcast starts now.
Hey everybody, Vince Moiso here with the CEO Podcast. I'm here as always with Scott DeLong.
Hi folks.
And we wanted to talk about something that we haven't talked about before. I think there's been some mentions as we've talked about some of our favorite books, as we've discussed, had great guests around, highly productive guests, things like that. But we've never really focused on productivity, especially as it relates to routine. So I get the question.
Or how routine affects productivity.
Right, that's right.
Okay?
That's right.
All right.
Well, and I get that question a lot, as I've mentioned to you in the past, Scott, where, someone will come up and just say, wow, I don't know how you're so disciplined. And I always laugh. I say, I'm really not all that disciplined. I've just created habits and routine that has made me incredibly productive. I love the question even better. I always get, I don't know, how you have so much time to accomplish what you accomplish in a day. And I laugh at that one because I have the same amount of time that you have. And somehow I'm able to get more done throughout the day. And I attribute that to routine and habit. And that's really what it is. And I'll start off with this one anecdote. I had an EO forum mate a number of years ago. This is, probably going back 7+ years at this point. And he introduced me to CrossFit. And it was just absolutely amazing because I was looking for something that I could be competitive, that would be a quick workout that I could do on a daily basis, things like that. And it looked, I was intimidated. Honestly, I was just very intimidated by it. And I was a little nervous to just go in and try it. And he really encouraged me to do it. So I went in. And when I bought my initial membership, I did a 2 to 3 day a week membership. And in my head, I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to pull off. I'm barely going to be able to pull off 2 days a week of doing this, right? So it started at 2 days. Occasionally I would get 3 days in, and even that was really tough for me at the time. But I remember we had our forum one month, and he says, "Hey Vince, which days are your most productive days?" And I thought for a second. I said, "You know what? It's the mornings that I do CrossFit."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, how many days a week do you do?"
It's the mornings that I take an hour and a half out of my time to do something that it's not part of my day.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he says, "How many days a week do you do that?" And I said, "Well, I try to get at least 2. I'm committed to 2 days a week. Sometimes I get 3 days a week." And he says, "Well, why wouldn't you do 5 days a week if those are your most productive days?" And I remember my mind just like exploding at that point. Like, I can't do 5 days of that. How am I going to pull that off? And it wasn't long before I was doing 5 days of that. And so, now really it's almost a 7 day a week thing, not necessarily CrossFit 7 days a week, but it is that routine. It's that workout. It's that adrenaline push. It's meditation. It's built into this morning routine that really sets the precedent for what my day is going to be.
Yeah. So I have a similar story. It had to do with swimming, and I don't really like individual things like swimming. I don't like running. I don't like swimming. Yeah. I love playing. I'm now into pickleball, but we can talk about that a little bit. But what I had to do is that I didn't like the 6 a.m. swimming because it was cold, right? And get out of the warm water and get in this cold thing and take an outdoor shower and all that. So I created a new routine. So I didn't go often, right? Because that's the time. You can go at 6 o'clock or you can go at 10 o'clock. Well, you can't go at 10 o'clock because there's work, right? So here's what I did. I got to work at 7, but I didn't shower first. What I found is that if I get a shower and get dressed to go to work, I didn't go swimming at 10 o'clock. But if I didn't shower and I just went to work and started pounding away at the desk, 9:45, I'd get my butt up and get to the pool and go swimming because I needed a shower, right? So that was my trick, and I was doing it 5 days a week, right, because of that.
And by the way, that's just a habit that you created, right?
It's
and that's
just a habit.
Talk about this book. I mean, we've talked about this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Right.
And that's just a part of habit stacking is what he talks about in that book. And I love the example because it's a perfect example that you weren't creating what people call discipline. You created a habit that became a trigger.
God, I could not stand having my hair greasy and oily and whatever.
Yeah.
So I had to go get a shower. The only way I'm going to get a shower is I had to go swimming first.
Yeah.
So yeah, the habit stacking is exactly how that works out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about routines in the workplace, right? So meetings scheduled. Meetings can be routine. So how does your organization set the weekly routines for individuals, groups, teams, organization? Talk a little bit about that.
It's a perfect question in what we're talking about because, I think we started off talking about that morning routine and certainly the high that I get off of that type of workout, whether it's meditation workout, cold plunge. I do a lot of those things in the morning that really set me off for the day, and they
plunge.
They drive me to get more done, and keeping that routine, setting those habits within your organization throughout a weekly basis. I like to refer to as a cadence. Cadence is the word that I typically use. So yes, we have a weekly, right? So we have our weekly that we start off, our weekly management. I also have a weekly sales.
Good.
These happen on Mondays. And we have our weekly biz dev and product dev.
Management first?
Yep.
So that you can get into the departmental stuff later.
And we have our daily huddles, which are in the morning. And we have several of them because those are split with the exec team, management team, sales team, and inside team. So all those huddles are taking place in the morning, and those are probably 10, 15 minutes a piece. They're really quick, but it's such a great check-in, such a great
What's the purpose? What's the purpose of the huddle?
Priorities. So we're literally just saying, hey, this is the priorities that I have for the day. This is what you can expect from me. This is how you can get a hold of me. This is where I'm going to be. It's the quick check-in.
And here's the help I need.
And here's the help I need. Right. If you need help, here's the help that I need. Otherwise, you're just moving on. And that way people know, it's kind of ready, break. And then that's why it's called a huddle, right? Ready, break. And then everybody goes in their respective directions. But it seems to cut down on, I don't know where Vince is at today. Or, I don't know how much, I haven't been able to get a hold of Vince. And I don't know why. Well, you're going to find that out in the huddle. And then I have on Friday too, I have a weekly follow-up. So we call it a bigger huddle, and it's more of the opportunity to really say, okay, this is what happened this week, and here's some things that I need even bigger help on that we can spend some time and shift our priorities for next week. Then we have a monthly, of course. So as you know,
all staff.
Yep, we follow the 12-week year, right?
Good.
So we're having that monthly. So we're creating the urgency around the priorities for the month. We have our monthly town hall as well. So that's our team meeting where everybody's coming on and they get an update on everything that's happening with the company. And then every
celebrations and that sort of thing happen during that one. Yeah.
All that types of stuff.
Okay.
Work anniversaries. We're recognizing people. We do a lot of recognition, things like that. And then, each respective department then has their own cadence that happens throughout the day. We have a cash meeting each day as well. That happens very much like a huddle, but it's just focused on cash priorities. I could go on. There's others, but just to know that this is habit, this is routine, and this is what you can expect from a week-to-week basis. I love it. I'm such a calendar individual that it really helps me plan my week accordingly, because I need to know what meetings that I'm going to be in and what else I can schedule around those.
Yeah, and when can I fit in customers? When can I fit in podcasts? When can I fit in the other things? These are the routines, and they don't shift very much. I mean, emergencies happen, right?
The one I left out, which I know you love, you're such a proponent of it, is the one-on-ones, the weekly one-on-ones.
Most important meeting on my calendar is a one-on-one with my direct reports.
Yeah.
And then once in a while, with their direct reports, right? Can't do that as frequently, but so want to go a little bit off topic on the routine, because there's a statement that I hear in almost every organization I've ever been in. One of the first things that people tell me is, "Oh, we have too many meetings here." And it sounds like you have a lot of meetings, right? We have this, right?
Yeah.
And my response almost always, I dig in and look and see. And then sometimes they have a few too many meetings that they can consolidate here and there. But usually the meetings are there for a reason and there's a purpose behind them. And my response is almost always, you don't have too many meetings. It's just that your meetings suck, right? Creating a routine within the meeting is as important.
Sure it is.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you the first thing that I want to do is when I have a new group, we're going to create some ground rules. Here's how we're going to operate with each other. And I let the organization, the team members, determine what those ground rules are going to be. Are we going to use electronics? Or are we going to, whatever the ground rules they come up with. The second thing, and probably the most important thing that I can do at the beginning of every meeting, is start with this statement. The purpose of this meeting is, by the time we get done, what we're hoping to accomplish is, stop right there, right? That sets the parameters on why we're here. Why we're here, right?
I also repeat at the end of the meeting, so I will say, guys, I just want to repeat what I heard. This is what I heard.
Yep.
These are the action items I took away from it. Do we need to assign any of these action items? Do we have a timeline around any of these action items? So it's things like that. So yeah, it's just, again, it's creating that habit, that routine within a meeting, let alone the meetings. And I couldn't agree with you more. I think when people say we have too many meetings, it's because your meetings suck.
Yeah.
They're too long. That typically means that the meetings are too long and they don't have purpose or agenda.
And they don't have the right people necessarily in them. They have people that used to be invited, so we invite everybody anyway.
And those in it aren't getting clear direction at the end. At the end, Scott, you and I both know this, but this is it sounds like we have a lot of meetings, but they're really quick meetings because we've got such a strict agenda. We've got such clear purpose in our meetings that what would take the normal organization 2 hours, we get done in 30 minutes.
That's great.
So we really don't have, when you add up the time we spend in meetings during a week, it's not very much time.
Well, I was with an organization that told me that, I only have 20 hours a week to get my work done because of all the meetings I have to go to. Well, that's not true. Right? All right. Let me go back to something that you said. When you said I finished the meeting I do the summarization. One of the routines that I've employed in the meetings that I have is when we get done and we have these summaries, it's very clear. Here's what we need, from who, by when.
Love it.
Very clear. And sometimes the by who is like, well, gosh, I need a whole team to do that. That's fine. You create whatever team you need to get that done, but you're the champion. You're the one responsible for that.
Yeah, you own it.
And it's by Friday at 2:00.
Yep.
Is that going to work for you? Right? And then finally end up with that kind of question. Here's what we need, from who, by when. Is that going to work? And give people a chance to debate back and forth.
And
that's just another routine inside a meeting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So no, you don't have too many meetings, just your meetings suck.
Yeah.
Apply some of these things and they'll work out. Now, we've gone off topic. We went into meetings instead of routine. But
here's one. So getting back to routine, because I get this question as well.
Yeah.
I travel quite a bit.
Okay.
And I travel for work, and I also, I like to travel for pleasure.
For fun. Yeah.
And so then I get the question, how does that throw you off your routine, right? How do you keep your routine or maintain that routine? I try to keep the same cadence as much as possible while I'm traveling. So as an example, take my morning routines and those workouts. I still do that at the hotel. So I'm so intentional about it that I will pick the hotel, and the moment I get to the hotel, I find where the exercise room is. I'll literally go seek it out and find where the exercise room is so I know exactly where I'm going the next morning. I will go to the store because I have, other parts of my routine. I drink celery juice every day. So I can't go on the plane and fill my bag with celery juice and all this other stuff that I do. So one of the other things I do is when I get to my destination, I'll go to a store that I know is likely to carry what I typically drink on a daily basis, and I buy all of that.
Liquor store? You go to a liquor store?
No.
Oh, that's a different
Not
story.
that kind. That's a different one. That's
right.
a different routine, Scott.
Okay.
Different routine.
Sorry about that.
But to my point is that travel doesn't have to disrupt your routine.
And technology allows you to be in those same meetings while you're traveling, does it not?
It does.
I mean, sure, customer visits, and if that's the thing you're going to do, that's a priority as well. And so you might have to miss that, and you just let people know that you're going to be missing this one, and here's the reason why I'm missing that. But travel does not have to mess up your routines. You're absolutely right. Now, it is harder to eat when you're traveling unless you prepare, like is what you're talking about.
Well, and that's what I found in the past. I wasn't eating very well,
right?
And to me, I found out that, like, you know what, that was actually that was on me, because I wasn't doing a good job to plan and prep for those trips. And now I even seek out the local restaurants. I do even a higher level of preparation.
Oh, wow.
Because I'll find out, oh, great, okay, right by my hotel is this place, right by my, where I'm going to be going is this place, or whatever it is. And so I have a plan as to, how my eating is going to go. Or another,
as much as possible, because you're going to have to go to a customer dinner. And
so I was just going to say that.
Right.
So I was going to say that I know I'm going to go to a big dinner. I might skip a lunch or something like that. So anyways, I've gotten, the reason I bring that up is, like, even during my travel, I've created yet another routine around how I've already anticipated how that travel could potentially disrupt what I do on a daily basis.
So the point is, we can make excuses that can disrupt our routines, or we can plan to maintain our routine, and therefore our productivity.
Yeah. And again,
it's your choice. You take whichever one you want to go with.
I'll go back to Atomic Habits. It's just habit stacking.
Yeah.
I mean, and once you've made it a habit, it just becomes a part of your routine. And so now I have a routine for when I travel. That's all that has happened. It's that simple.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. If it's a priority, you'll do it. If it's not a priority, you won't. If you want to be more productive, figure out your habits. If you want to be more productive, figure out your habits and turn those into routines.
That's it.
It's really a simple formula.
It is.
Simple, maybe not easy, but it's simple.
Well,
right?
The formula is simple. What needs to get done is simple. What is difficult and challenging for most people is the execution of it.
Sure.
So really what it boils down to is it's not about discipline. I think I'm no more disciplined than anyone. However, I have executed on the habits that have become routine for me.
So think about discipline or priorities. I like the word priorities.
I love the word
this is a priority for me. Therefore, it doesn't take discipline in order to execute on this priority.
Well, CrossFit, going back to CrossFit, Scott, CrossFit at 6 a.m. became more important to me, became a priority over that dinner that I got invited to the night before, where I know I was going to be put in a position to go drink a beer or 2 beers, which would then put me out of wanting to be up at 6 a.m. doing a CrossFit workout. So that CrossFit workout became a priority. My routine is a priority. And as those things have become priority, they become more important than these other things. Staying up late to binge watch something or whatever it might be, I'm no longer doing those things because that routine is a priority for me.
I actually like that, because discipline is a tough word. It's a difficult thing to create discipline, but it's not difficult to understand your priorities.
Yeah.
What's important to you?
I totally agree. And as you're stacking those habits on a regular basis, then I think it becomes a lot easier to build a routine. And what we talked about at the beginning, which is what we've led up to, is this is all about maximizing productivity. So when I get the question of how are you so productive, it's because I do all of these things that have become routine to the point that I'm maximizing myself for productivity in a day. And by the way, I defined what productivity is for me. And I think that's what's really important. So if you're listening to this and you've gotten this far into the podcast, one of the things I could tell you to do tomorrow is write down what productivity means for you. Not someone else's definition, your own definition of what your most productive day could look like, or your most productive week or month, whatever that is. But define productivity and then build out a routine, a plan for a routine that's going to maximize your ability to achieve that productivity.
I'm going to take that a step further. I'm going to suggest not just write out what that means to you, but I'm going to ask you to do a journaling exercise. So where does productivity fall in line with your own sense of self-worth, happiness, however you want to say that? I know when I feel productive, that elevates my sense of self-worth. That makes me happy. One of my goals is to be happy, right? I've got 2 goals. Be happy, raise good kids. That's it. As simple as that.
Well, I'm happy when I'm productive.
I'm happy when I'm productive, right? So it's not a burden to be productive. It's not a burden to fill my calendar with all these meetings. It's not a burden to whatever it's going to be, because that gives me this feeling of being productive, which raises my self-esteem, which leads into happiness. So for me, it's a simple formula.
I agree.
Hitting the snooze button doesn't make me happy. So don't hit the snooze button. Get my ass up and go do something.
Yeah.
Do something that I've listed as a priority, so that I can be productive on my priority, so that I can have good self-esteem and then be happy.
Yeah.
Really simple.
Agree.
Really simple.
Yeah.
Well, that went in different directions. So we go from this how to set a routine to my essential happiness in my life. Wow.
Well, they go hand in hand.
They do go hand in hand.
I think they're symbiotic.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard to have that level of a conversation without going there.
Yeah.
So as always, guys, just reach out to us at scottandvince@gmail.com if you got any questions, got any feedback. If you have suggestions for other topics, we want to hear from you. And as always, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you.
We really do appreciate the listeners. So thank you all. Until next time.
Until next time.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for the CEO Podcast. Please visit us at theceopodcast.net, where you can learn more about our co-hosts and listen to past episodes. If you would like to have a discussion and dive deeper into any topic, there is also an option to contact Scott or Vince to schedule some time with them. Thanks for listening.